Good morning. I want to talk. I want to talk to everybody this morning about the dangers that we're about to face on November 8th. This has absolutely nothing to do with Donald Trump. I am not a Donald Trump supporter. I cannot stand him. I have my reasons, mainly because I think he just says dumb shit. But I want to talk about Hillary Clinton, the elephant in the room, the career politician, 30 years in politics. Let's just talk about, I'm not even going to talk about her criminal activity as a disqualifying factor, even though it should be. I'm going to talk about a couple of the things that she wants to implement that could be incredibly damaging, much more damaging to our country than a guy who says mean things. So let's start with a tame one that can relate to a lot of people. She wants to make it so that anyone whose parents earn under $125,000 a year get free college. Okay, that sounds cool, except for what happens to the kids whose parents make $125,001. They don't mention anything. She doesn't mention anything about them. Also, what happens to the people who already are drowning in debt? I've got a cousin and a goddaughter who's somewhere in the range of $200,000 in debt in student loans. Now, I love my cousin, even though we share completely polar opposite political views. I'm $65,000 in the debt in student loans. Neither of our parents made $125,000 ever. So, should we get all of our student loans taken off our credit report and forgiven? She doesn't make mention of that. So, are we getting screwed? Is it only for the younger generation? Because I bet my cousin Heather would love to see $200,000 come off her credit report. That's a lot of money. I've got lots of friends who've been paying on student loans. They'd love to see that money go away. So let's play that into account. There's nothing said about us, so we get screwed. Healthcare. She wants to nationalize healthcare. Okay. Everyone gets free healthcare. Sounds good, right? On paper, it looks good. Here's my problem with that. That means the government gets to decide, because they can't afford to treat everybody. The government's going to decide who gets what treatment and when. So my best friend, who is, kind of fighting thyroid cancer or any other kind of cancer for that matter, gets a relapse, God forbid, and some 6-year-old girl in Minnesota gets cancer. Well, they can't afford treatment for both. So what do? They say, sorry, buddy, you had a good 37 years on this planet. You're screwed. She's 6. She deserves to live. Okay? That kind of sucks. That could be any number of us. That could be your parent. Well, you had a good 50-year run. It's time for the 6-year-old, though. That's wrong. She wants to gut Medicaid, Social Security and Medicaid. I mean, the millennials are going to get screwed royally by her. Absolutely screwed. Think about this for a minute. She wants you to pay, but she doesn't want you to reap any of the benefits, because that's going to be gone. So that's a problem, is it not? She wants to... God, I had a really good train of thought for this. I mean, nationalizing healthcare, the student loan. Oh yeah, she wants to raise taxes on big corporations. All right, let's raise taxes on big corporations. However, keep in mind that these are the corporations that are creating jobs for Americans. So when we raise the taxes on them and make them unable to conduct business in America, they're going to start laying more people off, which creates more government dependency on them. And that is a problem. So what are we left with now as an option? We're left with a woman who wants to... and these are just a couple of the things that she's proposing. And you people are biting into it because Donald Trump said mean things. I don't necessarily support him, but I will say this. Congress can control stupidity. They can't control tyranny. What she's proposing is nothing short of a communist dictatorship. What he's proposing is stupidity. Illegal. She wants to open the borders. Now, I'm not against immigration. I wouldn't be here were it not for immigration. Most of you wouldn't be here were it not for immigration. What I am thinking is, instead of opening the borders to build a democratic voter base, how about we speed up the process a little to become a legal citizen? That would be an interesting start. Nobody's mentioned that except for Gary Johnson. Let's speed the process up. Let's not give amnesty to those who broke the law, but at the same token, let's do that. She wants to do away completely with the Second Amendment. I mean, to save toddlers and whatnot from guns. Okay. We're not even going to get into that because she's going to stack the Supreme Court to take away all your individual freedoms. Abortion. I personally don't think the government has any place in this. I'm not personally for it, but shit, it is what it is. However, she supports late-term abortion, which means it would be okay in her eyes to have an abortion up to the due date. Now, to my liberal friends, you like science. You think science is a good thing, so let's leave religion out of it and go strictly scientific. Science tells us anything with a heartbeat is alive. Therefore, she's proposing the murder of babies. Are you going to tell me that a day before the due date, it's not a baby yet? It's not a living thing? That is murder. She proposes that we hold gun manufacturers responsible financially for the misuse of their product by criminals. Think about that. Do we hold Budweiser responsible when somebody gets killed in a DUI? Do we? We do not. These are little things, people, that are major issues. If you don't see a major problem with these issues, you are the problem. Millennials, you're getting screwed by her. My cousin is pretty much a millennial. She's getting screwed. We have to work and tax the middle class so that the elderly get fucked in the A, and the younger ones are going to be paying into it and never see a dime of it. I don't know that Trump has all the answers, but I think Congress can control him. But she is a tyrant. She's going to make the 8 years of Barack Obama look like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, like Sesame Street. This woman cannot be allowed in the Oval Office. I don't know what else to say. These are just a few talking points. I could go on for an hour-long video if I want to. But she willfully accepted money from nations of, the Muslim nations that throw gays off of buildings and mistreat and kill women. But she's all for gay and women's rights, right? But she won't give the money back. Think about that before you go to November 8th, before you go to the ballots. And if you're still contemplating voting for Hillary Clinton, after all that, well, I guess that's your right. Do so. If you want to vote for Donald Trump, don't be afraid to say you're going to vote for him just because you're afraid someone's going to call you a racist. Or whatever the hell they want to call him now. I mean, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. We've already agreed on that. If you want to vote for Gary Johnson, vote for Gary Johnson. But get out there and vote. But educate yourself. Because tyranny versus stupidity, I'll choose stupidity every day. And I think you should too. And I'm out.